Hello and welcome to episode 170 of the Podiatry Business Podcast with myself, Lorcan O'Donnell. So today's podcast title is Work-Life Integration, and it's essentially about how to be present for your family while growing your practice. And what I want to be able to do is to show you that you can do that. You can build your business to be a profitable business that gives you and your family financial freedom without having to sacrifice family time. Now, I'm going to tell you about myself. So when I first started my business, I worked all of the hours I could. I really was committed to growing this business. And I remember when my first child was born, he's now 16, taking a half a day off, So I think I closed the clinic at 12 o'clock. And I went to collect my wife from the maternity hospital and brought her home. And I still remember thinking about the income I was losing by doing so. Because essentially what I had done is I had built a business that was so reliant on me to be there to generate turnover and income that any time I was sacrificing from the business to spend with the family was stressful because it caused a significant financial problem with the business. Just recently, I've started working with a couple, a podiatry couple, and this podiatry couple, when we start working with them and we're doing their marketing, we want to know what is that they're trying to achieve, and their answer was surprised me, if I'm honest, and it was that they wanted to be able to take 2-week holiday together because both being podiatrists and running the business, if they both left together, there was no turnover for the business, and they couldn't really afford to do that. So that was their goal, and that's what we will do for them. But what you don't need to do is to say, I'm going to have quality time with my family or your loved ones, whoever they happen to be. You can have quantity time while it is quality time. So why not have both? So these days, I pick my kids up from schools most days. I drop my kids to schools most days. I bring my little girl Lily to guitar lessons every single week. I have to sit there and listen to her get a lot of bum notes, but it's great to be able to do that, all while my clinic still is open. My staff are doing a fantastic job and my patients are getting a great outcome. I'm mindful of another client, Sean Boyle, a podiatrist in Glasgow, who just recently told me he took 2 weeks away with the family. They went somewhere hot. I can't remember where he went. And that might not sound that unremarkable, but for Sean, it was a situation where he could go away for 2 weeks and he didn't actually need to think about the clinic or contact the clinic because he had built the clinic to the point where it was fairly systemized, like I dealt with in episode 169, and the business was running fine, his patients were getting treated and everything was good. And he was therefore able to go and grow his business and have a work-life integration, be present for his business, for his family, while still growing his business. So there is a almost like a false premise out there, or a false choice that I should have a work-life balance, and I don't really like that idea, because the idea is you go to work and then you go home for your life, and they shouldn't really integrate. Where I think instead what it should be is a work-life integration, one where they're working together, because you should have a business and a job that you enjoy going into, that it's not done through gritted teeth, and that you enjoy going into, and you also get time. It gives you the time to spend with your family, with your loved ones, doing the hobbies that you want to do. So why not integrate them rather than having a work-life balance as such? And the real cost of not being there for your parent or your partner is obvious, and it is down the line that you notice that you haven't been there. You've missed those family times, you've missed those occasions that others are able to get to. So how are we going to do this? Well, basically there's kind of 4 pillars that we want to do to integrate all of this. So the first is you want to set boundaries. You want to make sure that there are non-negotiable family times. So you're setting into your diary that I'm not available because I'm doing this with my family. So let me give you 2 examples. One example might be, you might sit down at the start of the year and say, well, these are the times I'm taking off. So I might take 4 holidays a year. I'm taking a week here, 2 weeks there, and that's going into the diary, and it's non-negotiable, and I'm not available to deal with anything to do with the business. I'm going to be with my family. You also want to be able to figure out, how do your team handle urgent clinic issues during that period of time? Because there will be occasions when maybe they will need to do that, and you've got to set boundaries on when is it okay to call you when you're not in work. And that's different for every business, it's different for every clinic owner. It depends on what it is you want. I'm quite fluid with it. I'm quite happy for my clinical team to ring me almost any time, because I don't have to be in the clinic all of the time. Now, if I was in the clinic 30, 40 hours a week, it could be a different story. I would want to come home and be able to switch off from that clinic. So you've got to figure out, how do your team handle urgent clinic issues? And then you've got to train your team to respect those boundaries. So you set a system for, this is how you contact me, this is when, and these are the reasons you can contact me. What you don't want, for example, is someone ringing you on a Friday night to discuss a patient that isn't actually going to be seen until maybe the following Wednesday. These are the kind of stories that we hear coming in. So that's the first thing, set boundaries for yourself and with your team, and that your business has boundaries with you. Step 2 is that you do delegation, you do it right. So there are things that only you can do, versus there are things that only others can do. And what you need to do, and this, I talked about this in the last podcast as well, what you need to do is to see, well, what can only I do? Okay, what do I enjoy doing, and what are all the other things that I can pass off? And then when you do so, you've got to be able to systemize these, and you've got to trust your team to do it. One of the biggest bottlenecks in growing any business and growing any clinic is that the owner feels that no one's going to do it as well as them, which is true. Nobody is going to do it as well as you, because it's not their business. But if that's the decision you're going to make, well, then you are going to have to be the business. And if you're sick and tired of being the business and everything having to run through you, you're going to have to let go of the reins, and you're going to have trust in your team. You are going to have to trust them. You're going to have to show them that you trust them. And you're going to have to accept that they're not going to do it 100% right 100% of the time, and that is okay. The alternative is that you do everything all of the time. So you've got to learn how to trust in your team, build that trust, show them that trust, and you've got to learn how to let go, and that it's okay when things aren't done perfectly well. The 4th thing is, you got to use, or you should consider using, technology as your ally. So use automation and use tools that will buy you time and that will make life easier for you. An example of that would be in our marketing system. Our weekly emails that go out from our clients, clinic owners, to their staff is written by my team. We use AI to help us with this. You can do the same thing. I've dealt with this in the past. You can use remote monitoring systems. I don't mean cameras now to watch what's going on with your team, but if you have good quality software, you can use KPIs to check in what's going on, what's the health of your business. So KPIs, if you have certain numbers that you know you need to be hitting, or that there are a red flag that things aren't going right, you can check your business at a glance from a distance without having to go there. Maybe you're going to be using AI voice, which is now available, to answer the phone, to book in patients after hours, and so on. All of these things make your life easier and mean that you and your team don't have to be there all of the time while still growing. And the 4th pillar, and probably the most important, is management of your energy. So time management isn't enough, and I've dealt with that before, but you've also got to protect your energy. You've got to get good sleep, you've got to get exercise, and you've got to protect that. So like you would at the start have with your boundaries, you would have put in maybe the days you weren't going to be in work, or you're taking holidays. Likewise, you need to protect and set boundaries on the time that you're looking after your mental and physical health. And you've got to learn the power of saying no. As your business grows and the more successful you are, what will happen is more opportunities will come to you. More shiny objects will come to you. And you've got to learn, when is it okay to say no? And typically, the more you say no to things, the better for you, for your business. and for your energy. You don't take on every single shiny object that comes along. Examples of this would be clients who would come to me, and I'm mindful of one client who was when they first came to me, were working 6 days a week, maybe doing 5 days a week in clinic, and then the 6th day on a Saturday going out and doing DOMs. Fast forward 2 years, business multiple sizes bigger, client welcomes their first baby and then took an entire 6 weeks off from the business just to support the new baby and his wife, and they came back to a clinic that was fine, didn't really miss him, everything was going okay. This is possible. This is what you can do with your business, and you need to do is start taking some practical steps on how you do this. You're not going to do all of this in one go, and that's okay. Some obstacles that I see for people is they don't know where to start. So first thing to do is I would urge you to do is to set some boundaries and let your staff explain to your staff. They need to come on board with the idea that you're not going to be available necessarily all the time, and you're not going to do all of the tasks all the time, because essentially it's going to suck your energy, and it's going to mean a business and a clinic that doesn't run as well, and the culture isn't as good as it could be. So let's start there and start to do it. Block out 2 hours this week for uninterrupted time with your family, okay? And then continue to do that. And don't feel that it is the business or the family. There's no reason you can't integrate both, have a great quality of life, and gain financial freedom at the same time. Now, if you like what you hear here, this is what we help clinic owners do in our coaching program. We help them to build businesses where they can take 6 weeks off and the business runs okay, patients are still treated well, and financially they're in a good position. If you're interested in having a chat with us about doing something like this in your business, just reach out to us. Go to morepracticeprofits.com, follow the instructions on the website, and we'd be delighted to help you. So until next time, this is Lorcan O'Donnell, Podiatry Business Mentor, signing out.